Hey, everybody, welcome to the Tech-Mex Podcast. We're your hosts, Eric and Mando. This is episode 95, number 95. We're bringing you the top stories in Bitcoin, tech, and wealth so you can one day beat your humanoid in a foot race. Dale.
Dale. I don't know if we can, man. We are too old for that shit.
We're going to need to speed up this timeline a little bit because, after a while, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I'm working on it, though.
Eh,
I
you
am.
know, right now it's several episodes on the pod. We have been doing about robotics. We're in a gold rush of robotics, right? The robot gold rush.
So if you haven't seen what's going on in China, they're doing these like robot games. And so here's a quick clip of the Unitree, the Unitree H1 running around the track. I think it won gold in this, but it looked like it outran everybody. Man, you think you could keep up with it?
I think so.
We
The,
looked it
the,
up. The height is about your same height, Mando.
it is my high, man. It's almost 5'11". So it's like, imagine if you're like sleeping and suddenly you just wake up and you suddenly like the robot is in your face.
I know, right? That's the thing.
It
It
will
can
be
be a little bit scary.
it will be creepy. It will be creepy for sure. Uh, it's and there were a lot of teams. There were like how many teams? 280 teams from 16 countries.
Yeah,
500 humanoids. What do you prefer to call them? Robots, bots, drones, humanoids, droids?
that's what I'm. That's kind of funny. Well, they're called the humanoid games, at least for this one that happened in China. World Humanoid Robot Games. So they actually put both of the words in the title. World Humanoid Robot Games. I guess they're saying there can be other types of humanoids. They don't have to be robots. They can be different types. Maybe that's the thing. But I'm okay with bots right now. What do you?
Mhm.
I don't. I don't know. I don't really have. I don't have one yet. I have Grok. I call Grok Eve. Hey Eve.
So is your robot is going to be a female?
More than likely. I don't know. We might have to ask the wives about that.
So uh, the trend is moving that direction. I feel that we mentioned it, that it's an exciting time where you have AI, and then now you see the advances with Tesla, with batteries and motors, right? And then the type of people and engineers that we are getting is like a little bit more aware of with 3D printing. So you have all of this conversion of all of these, I guess, industries, right? To be able to kind of even manufacture in your garage. There's a
Yeah.
couple of companies in US that we have seen that they are trying to manufacture even open source robots. And again, maybe in some of the episodes we will show, on some of the videos we will post some hardware that we're creating as well as ourselves in our garages. But yeah, what you were about to say?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of these technologies are coming together. A little bit more on this version of the Unitree robot that actually won the games here. So this one is called Unitree H1. We talked previously about the R1 and the G1 that Unitree also has. We'll likely bring one of those onto the channel soon enough. But like I mentioned, H1 is about as tall as Mando here. Um, and here's just to give a reference how fast it was running. It did so. It set a world record time for being a robot of 6:34. That's for the 1500 meter.
Mhm.
Now, to give some context, that's about half as fast as a human. So still, I mean, for it to be half as fast as the fastest human beings on Earth, that's pretty impressive. So I'm pretty sure it can still outrun you, Mondo. At least going in a circle on the track there, right?
I don't know. It will be interesting to make the test. At some point, it will, because my knees. Dude, what
Well,
he cannot do, that for sure that I cannot do, it's a freaking backflip.
yeah,
This thing can do a backflip without hydraulics, right? It's like, it's super impressive. That for sure is impressive. It's like, man, it's like, it is very hard for even, I mean, for human beings, right? So
Oh yeah, no kidding,
so,
right?
and for robots, the precision to be able to self balance, maybe interesting here for the audience. The inside of the robots, they have a unit for them to know the balance. Like for us, we have in our ears and kind of our balance system, right? But in the robots, they have a couple devices, like sometimes like accelerometers, like in your phone when you are moving it around, like when you just flip it to be able to twist it between vertical and horizontal, there is a sensor. There's a bunch of those on within the robots, and that way those are in real time telling the robot what are the movements of the motors, so they can self adjust but when they land. But again, it's fractions of seconds, right? Which is very, very impressive.
Yeah, it's really cool. And just to also give a sense of the price, so this H1, I believe, is probably their highest, at least consumer level, not consumer, but commercial version, which is probably around 100K or so. I think I've seen prices like maybe around 90K or so for this robot. So it's really really interesting. So another funny thing is that there's a lot of spectators at this because this the world again the world humanoid robotics competition here in China. They actually sold tickets to it, and they had
Hmm.
people come watch these games, and a lot of people were saying this is actually a lot more fun than watching humans. I was like, really? Like that's crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. Apparently not everything went right for all these robots, right? So you had heads flying off, like collisions between the robots, and it wasn't all just track and field. They had, I think I've seen video of the boxing, I've seen video of soccer. So they've got a lot of different competitions and sports that they're doing. I think so far though, this Unitree one is really standing out. They've already won a couple of golds within the competition here.
It's amazing. The tickets were $18 to $80. So uh, it's just funny how the expectation on people that maybe they like some robots and they want to be there, but some other people is just for entertainment, right? So it's like I want to see how these robots are. I have no clue how are they being built and don't care. It's
Yeah.
just it's just entertainment, right? So, but it's just funny how is pulling. It used to be gigs, man. It used to be only like techies, right? Like, and that's the reason why we're calling it out in the pod, right? Because this is kind of the core of technology.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting that now there is like a in when they have the e-sports, right, for the gaming. I think that now we're gonna coin a term R sports.
Our sports. They're taking our sports. Okay. Yeah, I think this is kind of fun. Again, I'm looking forward for us to start getting a couple bots on the channel. But related to that, China's made a pretty big investment in robotics and things like that. This just even this year, I think they've poured $20 billion into that humanoid sector, and there's a lot of reports that are even saying they're trying to get 10,000 robots built this year. And we were having this conversation earlier, like what do we like, why do we think they're building all these robots? Like what is their vision? Because our thought is they've got a pretty sizable, healthy population over there in China. Like, are these robots meant to address that somehow?
Tough, right? But what they say is basically is to replace some of the hazardous jobs or jobs that people don't want to be. Like if you need to be like 10 hours in the belt to be able to move them around, it's like, well, if they add hands instead of how they call it, the grippers. I
Pincers?
think no grippers. They call
The
them grippers.
tridactyls? Oh no, those are aliens.
Because there's the there. No, that's a dinosaur.
No, that's pterodactyl.
So, anyways, so I feel that maybe those are kind of the jobs, but seems like a lot, 10,000, right? Like when in America we have Tesla, and they actually behind with 5,000 robots, right? With Elon.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess because he was in 3 freaking months in the freaking like government, right? With with the
Mhm.
current administration.
He took a little detour.
It's like so, but I feel that maybe this kind of the interesting one, because we have been mentioning about the reindustrialization of America, and I sometimes laugh because, like, come on, man, people are not going to want to do those jobs, right? Because it's breaking your back, literally, right? On this type of work, and yeah, even if you bring them, the reality is that it's going to be machines, and you're gonna have like these factories full of robots, right? And then yeah, you might have some humans, but those humans might have to give support or maintenance to the robots, and the robots to the machines,
Right.
right?
Uh, well, I think I see like a one really good benefit from like them experimenting, doing these robot games. And by the way, I don't know if we mentioned, but the robot games attracted lots of people from all these different countries, right? I believe
A hundred
how many contestants were there?
500 teams,
Oh, there's
the
500 robots from
500 robots,
280
280
teams.
teams, yes, and
Yeah,
16 countries.
from 16 countries. So this seems to be like a global push. I think people are realizing, okay, yeah, we're solving AI. You need now kind of this physical body for the AI to be able to live in. So a lot of people are kind of working towards this, and costs are going to end up coming down, right? I think they're even saying they could come down by half. So imagine an H1 right now, 100K, let's call it, something of the quality of an H1 for 50K. I mean, that brings it down to the point where maybe a lot of small businesses can start investing in some of these robots that are clearly very capable. There's already like $10,000 robots, $20,000 robots that maybe aren't as capable, but are maybe more so development type platforms. So that's already there, but they don't have the same precision, the same capability to be able to carry things. I think some of the smaller robots can only carry like 5 or 10 pounds, whereas something like the H1 can carry like maybe like 50 or 60 pounds. So it can really do more real work type scenarios that a human would be able to do. I don't know how often you're carrying 50, 60 pounds, Mando, but I do
Every
every
day.
so often, at least once a year when I go to the gym. So, but these robots can do it in and out, day in, day out, 24/7 potentially, as long as they've got the power and the batteries to do it. So
This is
pretty impressive tech.
this is $1 trillion industry right here, right? So um, sometimes it's like how you are able to continue with technology, right? And this is one of the clearest path. Um, we as also entrepreneurs, we are trying to think how we can capitalize, because we have seen these trends for the last 15, 20 years, right? We have been in tech that long, and we have been able to ride the waves on. We kind of miss the mobile, because you remember when we were looking into the mobile? Yes, we did some projects,
By
but
the
we
time we
didn't.
got there, it was really more mobile apps rather
Mhm.
than actual devices. It was just like, eh.
Yeah.
we do.
But we
We
were
dipped
able
the
to
toe.
agree. But we were able to capitalize on crypto, right? Like
Mhm.
in that time in Bitcoin, we were doing. You remember that time it was Litecoin, Bitcoin and Litecoin,
Yeah.
and then Ethereum was not
And then
even in the
Ethereum
radar.
showed up. Yeah,
Show up
Ethereum
later.
didn't exist in the beginning, So,
Yeah,
um, so
and all of the shit coins, right?
and then because of Ethereum, you're right, all the shit coins ended up following. So,
Yes. So,
uh,
but my point here is that this is a trend, and if you are like thinking that you're young in your 20s, 30s, and like, man, what it should be, where is a good business? Here, I think that there is something, and we have seen these waves, but I feel that now they are here to stay, right? Because right
yeah,
now what we are seeing is just AI is moving so fast, even for the companies like Meta and Google, and in this case, obviously OpenAI, that they are like shipping and releasing features like left and right, right? So, okay, what are you showing us here with your buddy
so
Sam Altman?
so along those lines, we're talking about um, jobs are going to be replaced or people are going to have to change their jobs. Well, Sam Altman, while he does realize that all that's going on, he says this is like the most exciting time to be starting a new career. He's trying to flip this on its head and be like, you know what, these people that are graduating college right now, this is actually a perfect time for them. They're the high schoolers, they're the luckiest high schoolers in all of time because they've got AI at their fingertips. And I think some of his reasoning is actually um, pretty spot on because for the first time, and you know, for the first time, you're able to have potentially $1 billion startup just between one person or two people. Like
Hmm.
you have your team that you have at your fingertips, and they can all just be AI agents or using AI tools to build something super quickly and get to that $1 million ARR, right? Where a lot of these VCs and things like that are trying to get target with their companies. You can do that with a one man show or one woman show.
I think that is you can see the two sides of the coin. You can be very pessimistic. Terminator, we all are dead. Right? Or you can see it very futuristic, very like, yeah, like very rosy and like we all gonna have some universal income. So it's like now it's like anything, you just extend your hand and food will come to your hands, right? So uh, again, it's new. Which is new is going to make it kind of like people is going to be anxious, like, hey, what is going to happen to my job?
Mhm.
um, so I'm trying to be empathetic to both sides, right? To I think that in this case, if you're an entrepreneur, that means that you have to have an outlook, a positive outlook, which is what is this guy is doing, right? Like some madman, he cannot say, "Hey, you're toasted, you're doomed, we are gonna die." Right? So,
We're cooked. We're
yeah,
cooked, right?
we are chopped. How the new kids are saying, right?
Okay. They already moved on. All right.
So, uh, and I think that that's what he is just addressing, right? But I feel that maybe a more interesting topic on this though is the distinctions between leisure and laziness. Why I'm saying this is because people are not used to having leisure time because, like we saw it on COVID, right? Like you had a working from home, you didn't have to commute. Just by that, it was 3 or 4 hours extra, and then you couldn't even go out sometimes because restaurants were closed, right? Then you have all of this extra time. People were able to figure out some time what to do with their time, but I feel that we will have to realign that kind of mental shift on society, what they need to do with their time. Even I'm struggling, right? Like, and probably you too, as you're getting like also more time back. Uh, it is tough to figure out, okay, do I actually just binge Netflix? How much Netflix you can binge, right? So, or actually you start burdening yourself. What is your take there on that part?
um, I think people will welcome it. Honestly, I would imagine that a lot of the people that are working, long hours every day just to survive would welcome a little bit of time back to relax, focus on their health, focus on their family, all those important things. Now, at the same time, the reason they're likely working so much or working so hard is because they need to make ends meet. So, that is, I think, the key to why there is this concern, super concern for what AI is going to bring. So much so that there's some people that are like, we need to have regulations against AI. We need to stop AI. We don't want AI. Is because they see it as something that's going to attack their means of surviving. Because a lot of folks
Livelihood.
right now are just surviving. So that completely makes sense, and I can sympathize with that. So in a way, Sam Altman is saying all this, but he should be careful because he's the one that is almost like the face of like this AI with Chat GPT and things like that. So he should be careful. Like, hey, he's telling people, hey, consider yourself lucky that you're living with AI. For us, yes, we're kind of in a different phase in our career and things like that, right? Where we're able to leverage the tools at our disposal to help us achieve different goals and dreams and things like that. And so this is very interesting. So all that means is there's this gap, right? We need to be able to address this gap for those people that are scared and afraid that it's going to affect their livelihood. That's why we've seen folks come up talk about UBI, right? It's not UBI has been around for a while. At least I know even one of the past presidential candidates, Andrew Yang, had mentioned UBI as something that he was going to seriously bring because and this is before Chat GPT had like taken off, I believe. But he's like, no, this is going to be something that's important because eventually we're going to get to the point where technology is going to start really replacing a lot of entry level jobs and things like that. And that's what we're now starting to really see. I think what we're seeing since January 2023, entry level job postings in the US have dropped by about 35%. So a third of entry level jobs have vanished. And presumably that's because AI is good enough to replace maybe a third of these entry level positions. So 30% of workers are concerned about being replaced with AI. So that really does make sense in terms of just the numbers. Goldman Sachs has an estimate that says AI could potentially replace up to 300 million full-time jobs globally. So
Uh,
those are real big numbers.
yeah, and I think that maybe ultimately, if he's not careful, it's gonna look like he's completely detached from society, right?
Mhm.
Like bro, like yeah, you just say that this is exciting because you're not losing your job, right? So, and again, right? But the interesting thing is that technology just keeps advancing, whether it's Sam Altman or China,
Yeah.
right? Like it's still gonna keep advancing.
Hmm.
So, I, we always, because we know that we have listeners that sometimes they're not techies, sometimes they just care about tech and they like tech, and you might be worried, it's like, okay, shit, it's going to replace my job. It's including hours, right? I mean, I'm also a software programmer, and I see this, holy shit, this thing actually with one prompt is almost doing 80% of the job, right? So, and even you can see the tech jobs like software programmers, they haven't raised the number of hirings. It used to, and if you're a student, it's like shit. You are like literally getting out of school. It is gonna be tough, and the way for you to be able to go around this is like try to learn ML, right? Try to learn all of these different reinforcement learning, robotics, mechatronics, right? To be able to build your stack, because it's gonna be replacing some jobs, but it's gonna take some time to expand. But yeah, going back to Sam Altman, I feel that he needs to be, as you say, careful on how he's framing some of these. I For me, the going back to the leisure time, I pull it out because also I remember that Aristotle, he was saying that leisure is the highest human state. And I was thinking, okay, why he's saying that, right?
he
Uh,
must he must really like golf. I don't know. We've been playing some golf. Well,
we have been playing golf lately.
hitting some rounds, right?
So I think that is because is that they can just do philosophy. They can start thinking, right? They can
Mhm.
start pondering, and they can educate. They can see how things work. And if you don't, in order for you to do that, you have to have the time. And here's the interesting thing. We were mentioning about affluency and having money, right? And then you will be able to have leisure time, and more if you have machines, because now your machines could be your servants, right? They can just do a lot of the, if you don't want to clean your toilets, you have the robot just doing the toilet, right? And so on, or cooking, right? Whatever you don't like to do, and then you choose, like if you truly like to a barbecue, then just do a barbecue. But I think here the point is that financial aspect of it, and also that one, it has been changing through history in society. Like when we used to have kings and so and royalty and all of that, leisure was that a sign of affluence and wealth. But that changed though, through the ages and even into the Western cultures. It's like now, like in this time, it's like hustle. You have to work like wake up at 4 a.m. and like nonstop, and the YouTubers, right? They're just saying that. So it's just funny to me how we shift on what is right as society, and now with robots and AI, that is going to have to shift as well. So, what's your take there on the affluency with leisure?
I think it's a necessary part, for those that can escape, the daily grind, right? I think it's a good part of keeping you healthy, and giving your mind a chance to recover and rest. So it's something that is necessary. Not everybody can do it. I know it's something that I've started to try and make sure I plan for. A lot of folks basically are always about, working on their projects, working on their dreams or goals and things like that. You got to make sure you program time in there also to do some things, some downtime. It doesn't mean just veg out and do nothing. For some people, it could be nothing wrong with that. But some people don't just want to kind of sit at the beach sipping a margarita all the time. That's why you see a lot of people taking these kind of adventure vacations and trips and things like that. So
Mm.
it's really important to do it, and even in small chunks, throughout the week. We tried. I told you earlier this year I want to try and start picking up golf a little bit more. So we've been trying to do that a little bit more. I know you picked up a couple other things. Tried to do your Pilates and Tai Chi and things like that too. So it's really important. And again, that definition of what leisure is, for someone, it's different for everybody, right? Different. Uh, there's different personalities, and they rest and recharge in different ways, right? So we all know that. So just figure out what your way is. I think it's super important to do that. Now, as we
But
move.
there is a hold on. There is an important distinction. One is, as you just said, it was just vegetating, which is basically you are in a stagnation.
Mhm.
And if you're not growing, you're dying. At least that's my belief. So I feel that the ways of choosing leisure, it could be very interesting, basically based on your interests, based on your beliefs, and based on your goals. Some people like me, I'm wired for goals. That doesn't mean that everybody should, but what I do feel is your betterment as a human being, right? Like if you're not doing like even, and yes, I know that sometimes you might want to vegetate, like watching like 10 hours in Netflix, right? Or being on the beach for a week or whatever. But would you like to be like the rest of your life just doing that, right? And that for me is like, that's weird, right? Like I cannot fathom with that. And
Yeah.
yeah, maybe some people might choose to. It's their
Yeah.
life, their
aren't
free
there
will.
aren't there monks that like meditate like their whole lives or something? All
I'm
they
not a
do is just
monk,
sit there and meditate. But
right?
I'm saying there's
Yeah,
people that do that, right?
yeah. uh, However, there is an objective there on betterment for their own mind, for meditation. There is even that an objective. Is they're not literally a veggie, right? So
Perspective. I
it's
mean, I don't
perspective,
know.
sure.
Outside
Perspective.
looking in, like, they just sit there. I don't know. No, I agree. I agree. But I'm just saying, like, who's to say someone that's just vegging out watching Netflix all day is not doing something similar? Um, it's just we don't know what's going on in that person's head either.
You're saying that watching the Kardashian is gonna be the same as fucking monk meditating? Come on, bro.
I'm wondering. We need to do some brain scans.
It's like
How does it impact
it's
the
like
Kardashians on
yeah,
your
like,
brain?
yeah. Kim is like giving you like alpha or what are the theta waves,
Did you say the theta waves? Those are different waves, buddy. Uh,
They're gamma or theta. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Shit. But yeah, it's like, yeah, maybe for you, I don't know. I need the.
uh,
Anyways, going back to AI. I don't know how we just went to freaking Kardashians.
yeah. Well, okay. So really, this is just really interesting. We've been talking about this kind of all along. Like we're going through this transition, and here's the thing: it will happen. I think we will hit a point where it will happen very quickly. Right now, we're still kind of inching our way through this. We're seeing,
TP2ing.
layoffs here. Yeah, we have a GPT here. We got a few layoffs here. You got another Anthropic here. We got a few more layoffs over there. We've got a new version of Gemini. You see entry level jobs come down. It's coming piece by piece. Eventually there's going to be a release of an AI, a large language model, or whatever the technology ends up being, that's going to be like, oh crap, this is AGI. It really is more than a PhD level person in your pocket. It is like 10 PhDs in your pocket. It is a one prompt business. Okay. Well, once we get to that point, yeah, we're going to see like overnight, like, okay, there's going to be massive, because you're not going to need all those people. So when that happens, we just want to make sure that people are aware that that is something that could happen. Now hopefully there's people that are in control, like in the government and things like that are keeping tabs of where we are in terms of this technology, and coming up with plans for society and things like that. How are we going to get through in a transition for this, right? Because eventually we're going to get there. What are we going to do? So UBI has been floated as one of these things. And again, UBI is like a universal basic income. It's basically like everybody in the US would be giving some type of living income so they can at least house themselves and feed themselves and things like that. And so that is what a lot of people are thinking. There will be some sort of that. Uh, of something like that to be able to help us bridge that gap until we figure out what new society is going to be. A lot of people are calling it post labor economics. So if you're interested in the topic, you can start Googling that. And there's some folks out there that are starting to have these conversations like, what will that actually look like? Is the government going to give everybody one Bitcoin, and then that Bitcoin can, is inflation proof and blah blah blah? I don't know what's it going to look like, but that's what people are doing. However, there are some jobs that potentially will not be hit as hard by this AI wave, at least not initially. Have you heard of some of these AI resistant um, skills?
I was thinking that haircuts, but like now with robots,
No, yeah, bro. They have that vacuum suction. It's like, and it just starts cutting your hair.
it is very tough, man. Like you can say maybe things that they are very personal, person to person, right? Like but even we saw with like maybe psychologists, maybe your lawyer, not necessarily the actual the grind work behind to build the case and the forms and all of that is going to be fully automated. But I feel that maybe that connection, that contact human to human, right? uh, I don't know, what was your take?
Yeah, I think there will be some, because at the end of the day, um, we will start leaning a lot on our social connections. I think. Um, so while yes, we will likely have robots in our lives day to day, whatever. I think you will find the human connections are going to be something that you want to cultivate and make sure that you keep in certain cases. Like you said, you're a barber, you have a relationship with your barber, you use the same one several years, you're not just going to go and replace them with a robot. Some people might, but maybe not all of them. So
Hmm.
as let's say as a barber, you might see that on the horizon, so you might start changing your services or updating your services so that it caters to the person that does want to have more of this personalized relationship with the person that cuts their hair, right? And same
Mhm.
thing for other things. There's a lot of things that healthcare professionals. Yes, we will likely see robots in the healthcare area. Doing different things. There's things like with ambient listening and taking down notes and things like that. Lots of things are going to be automated behind the scenes. But then there's the thing, that you can't, that's more difficult to replace. A little bit of bedside manner, a little bit of compassion, sympathy from the person that understands and really knows what you're going through. If it's like an illness or something like that. So there's going to be places where it's hard to replace. Psychologists, usually you want to know that the person on the other side really understands what you're going through. So there's a lot of places where they won't be replaced, at least not in the beginning, right? So where you might have a little bit longer lead time there.
And here is where it's tough, right? And we go into controversial topics because uh, a machine has not lived, right? Like it's like a sometimes a priest is telling you something about your kids. It's like, bro, you don't even have family, right? You don't have kids, right? So yeah, you can see and all of that, but you don't know the type of problems. You can have like sympathy, but truly empathy is because you have felt it before. And I feel that the machine is programmed, right? They never have felt it before. And I feel that maybe that's I don't want to diminish that because as humans we were programmed to be like that, right? Because that's what it gives a sense of community, and that's what other versus other animals, right? I mean, you don't see other animals trying to control the planet and their terrain, like in our case, right? So, uh, and and yeah, that it is tough. But this is a good segue for the next topic, man. Bitcoin. What is the latest? We just hit the all times high again, huh?
Oh my goodness! So it does happen, but it seems like it was a little bit short lived this time. So
It was
Bitcoin.
like what, less than 24 hours?
So Bitcoin did reach a new all-time high of $124,000. So great news. But as soon as that happened, it seemed that there was some other news that like brought it down right away. We thought it was going to be this breakout. So I think the last all-time high was maybe 122 ish. I think. So it went above it by just a couple $1,000s, right? But soon after it went down, I think to 114, apparently 114, 116 in that range, um, because of kind of some inflation data and market sentiment. And there was the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made some really weird comments in terms of he's like the Bitcoin reserves are going to stay at 15 to 20 billion dollars, mostly from what's already been seized. There's no active plans to buy anymore, and then he left it at that. And the market was like, what do you mean? Like this was not part of the plan. The plan was there's going to be this strategic reserve that's going to be built. Trump had built a lot of this campaigning and communications around this. So I imagine that Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, got a phone call. Scott, this is not what we talked about.
WTF, Scott?
WTF, fix this or you're fired, And so later on that day, Scott said, let me clarify actually what I meant was that we're going to do some budget neutral, uh, uh, I guess not purchases, but budget neutral ways of getting more Bitcoin. Okay. So the whole market side, sense of relief there, and they said, okay. So then Bitcoin started to recover. But, it almost, to me, it might almost seem like, was that like planned? Like, did they like,
I
they're
think
like,
that is
I
just
don't, I
the
don't know. What was
is
that?
I think that is politics where you have in the government you have like different interests, different parties lobbying, and it's like, hey, you know, do this, or maybe even they're against, right? Some parties might be against it, and it's like, hey,
Mhm.
let's just keep it as is. Which again, they're trying to see from their perspective the interests of, in this case, America. So, but yeah, not organized, and I felt that it's like, hey, this was not in the agreement. You have to backtrack because what you said is incomplete, right? Like we don't even know yet properly the plan. It's not official. So I think that maybe it's one of those that they are not agreeing with that. It's like the other one that we have seen is the Fed, right? The Trump administration, they want to lower the rates,
Mhm.
and the Fed is like, no, man. It's like right now, it's like let's just keep going in this direction, and in that way we can just continue. But yeah, the administration is pushing to be able to lower the rates. So you can see kind of the struggle internally for these variables. So, but yeah, it was very short lived. The
It was very short lived. I
like
was
in
like, "What?
hours.
That's it?"
Yes, like in hours. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean,
uh,
to be honest, it's like we are crashing 5%. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not really a crash per se, right? But a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, this is it," and they jump in, right? They go like, "Oh yeah, I'm going in," and then they're like, "Oh shit, it's coming back down. What happened?" That's why a lot of people say it's better just to kind of what you call it, buy a little bit every day instead
yeah,
of doing one
DCA.
big
Yeah,
bulk, right?
DCA.
Yeah,
It's
your
like
DCA
Bitcoin is very hard
time.
to time it. It's very hard. We have been doing this for I don't know 12 years, right? And man, it's like yeah, some instances like there's a no-brainer, right? Like you'll see already see a discount 50%. Come on, I mean, don't be a fool, right?
Yeah.
Sure, right? Just get in. But in these ones, like 10%, 20%, right? It's just DCA. I have friends actually that they do it like every day. Some others every week, some others every paycheck. Uh, I don't think that is a good and right. There are. I have seen some studies that they analyze when to do DCA, but the reality is that sometimes you just get chunks of money, right? What are you gonna do? You're gonna wait until you split it out, or if you see a dip and discount, just do it. It is hard. I'm empathetic to that, right? So my way, by the way, I'm not a financial advisor, only two dudes in the internet. My thinking always is to make it super simplistic. Like get in, get out, and then you just account your cost basis, right? Whether you're doing options. Right now I'm doing options. If I want to get in and it's a chunk of money, then I just start just selling put
Puts.
options. So in that way, if it doesn't hit my price target, I get the premium, easy money, right? Because I want the instrument, and I don't care if I actually get assigned to it because I'm okay either way. I get the money on fiat, or in this case, I get the for IBIT. But yeah, once again, it's tough. It's tough to be able to navigate the volatility. We'll see how this year develops on the on the rates. We're gonna see another one in September, and there's a good probability that they might lower it, which that might incentivize, and maybe that's the reason why we might see another spike between third quarter, fourth quarter for Bitcoin. I think that we're gonna hit maybe 150 by the end of the year if the rates get lower. If they don't get lower, we're just gonna see like flat chested people.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think this was part of the reason why we saw this, increase in if the price of Bitcoin is because the market seems to be pricing in the rates coming down in September. So they're saying 92% probability that we're going to get lower rates in September. So that's being priced in, and that's why we started seeing this the pricing kind of starting to inch up. However, Scott Bessent kind of threw a wet blanket on all of that, all of those news, and put some news out there to kind of counterbalance that and keep the price holding at the same price. So it's around probably 118, 120, something like that around right now. So again, it's been pretty steady. Like we haven't seen too much up or down, but it's been pretty steady, which is a little bit unlike Bitcoin, but it is maturing over time. So this could be kind of how things are going to be in the future. Of course, we all love when it makes a big run up. Everyone gets super excited. So hey, I'm all for it if if the rates get lower and things like that. I think that would ease up a lot of free extra money in the market. Usually, when there's a little bit of freer money in the market, money goes towards things that are potentially a little bit more risky. Bitcoin tends to benefit from that. So we're gonna see kind of what September is gonna hold for that. I'm banking on it. I'm hoping for it. So we'll see how that ends up.
Yeah. In another note, Tesla is doing a game changing with their makeover of using, and now it's getting unreal. Do you see how many points I have added in that freaking headline, man?
That's pretty good, man.
So, just thank you for putting it. Look at how sharp that image looks on the dashboard, right? So it looks almost unreal. Oh, another one there. So just I'm gonna unpack this all of these ponds. So Tesla just mentioned it that they are going to update their display, how they are actually simulating their navigation uh, with an engine, and this engine it was for gaming, and it's basically the company is Epic Games. Is that's the name of the company, and they created an engine which is the physics engine, and it's basically called Unreal. So uh, it's very cool, man, dude. Like this is. I'm Team Sam. You know, I'm very optimistic about the future. Right? You start seeing all of these different companies. Kudos to Tesla, right? Uh, I know that Elon has been like messing it up with all of the different things, but the company, you know, they have a lot of smart people over there, and making it the advances that we see in the cars. It's amazing. You just get the updates, which is great. I have BMWs, I have Porsche, I have like I didn't get any freaking squat, you know, in updates.
That's true.
So it's like now my car is like speaks with Grok, right? Like flirts with Ramirez, right?
Flirts with you. See? No, no, don't flip it on me.
So you know, it's like a it's just in changes, right? Like in a week, and now it's gonna have like an Unreal display with simulation, right? Like man, it rides by itself. It's awesome. So
Yeah,
what's your take?
I think it's really cool. I mean, who doesn't want like cooler technology in their car? I mean, that is just pretty cool. So I think part of this comes from right. Elon has always been like, oh yeah, you can play video games in your Tesla. I'm like, I've never done it, by the way, but apparently you can. It's got the right chips to be able to handle that, right? So here's the thing: if you're driving and it's got the extra CPU cycles, why not throw that up there? It'll just make it look that much more cool as you're driving down, and it's actually rendering like more realistic looking things. Not that it's bad right now. I mean, I do like the Santa mode where it turns your car into a Santa's sleigh or whatever. But this would be even more cool. I mean, to have like realistic dump tracks next to you, or even if it could identify, oh, that's a Porsche over there, oh, that's a Ferrari over there, and actually put some on that'd be kind of cool. There's probably some licensing limitations to that, but still really cool. I think it's just kind of a fun little perk there, and totally agree with you about the over the air updates. I mean, it's fun. I got an update yesterday. I was going to the store and I had FSG. It was driving for me, and it pulled into the parking lot. And usually I have to interrupt it and I park myself. It actually just parked by itself without me telling it. Usually you have to push a button if you do want it to park for you, but no, it did it by itself. And I went front end first. This is the first time this has ever happened. And so
Oh,
I'm like, wow. I guess that was something new that was in the over the air update. It's just pulled in and parked. So I
usually,
thought
yeah,
that was
because
really interesting.
usually when he parks, he goes back, and actually you have to select. There is a button there to start parking, and you
Hmm.
select it. But yeah, that's cool. Maybe I have it already, right? So, but I haven't seen that happening. But yeah, I think that kudos to the Tesla team, also to Unreal, man. I have been seeing that the gaming industry. We have not mentioned it. Maybe we should do some pods about gaming. Is because we don't game that much, but there is a lot of advancements as well in gaming, and I feel that with the AI we are actually gonna see the the movies are gonna be games, right? Then you're gonna experience the movie like a game. So I feel that as we get better on generating video, and that's kind of gonna be the. Do you remember those books, right? Like choose your own ending, right? Like you
Hmm.
will have to jump from page to page depending what the story that you want. I really think that they're gonna bring that into movies. Like, hey, what do you want? Do you want to do this or that, or explore this or that? Uh, that will be interesting for the filming industry, for Hollywood or Bollywood,
Yeah.
to be able to start looking into that.
Yeah, I think so. The future is bright. We're going to see a lot of cool products and creativity coming out here. I mean, we're going to see video games that are going to be like uh, that. They're going to use AI to build the world like real time. You know, it doesn't have to be pre-programmed and things like that. So, I think that's all going to be real cool. Maybe you just put a prompt and said, "This is what I want the game to do today," and you know, it builds a game automatically, real time. It doesn't. It's going to be different. It's going to be very different. It can be just an AI gaming platform that just works that way. So
Yep.
lots of cool stuff to look forward to. I think that's all we have for today. I do want to remind you guys, if you like the content, like, subscribe, comment. We really do enjoy hearing from y'all. If you haven't seen it yet, check out the all-time high uh, video that we have out there. It's getting a lot of views. I think we're probably close to 20,000 views on it already. Um, and what's else? What else? If you're buying any Cybertruck stuff, check out the videos that we have on some of the Cybertruck accessories. Uh, we usually I think we have a discount code if we use our link, so be sure to look that up. I think that's all we got for today. We'll talk to y'all next time.
Peace.
Dale.